So it was a 1 week deal, and it was the worst thing that could have happened.
That is the worst thing that could happen to you.
Deal signed, like, whoa.
This is easy.
Commercial real estate.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's going to happen next week?
Awesome. We're going to make trillions of dollars. Yeah, now.
Welcome to the Mountain West Podcast.
Welcome to the podcast where we cover all things commercial real estate. I am Chad Moore, and today we have a really cool and interesting podcast with the rookies of Newmark Mountain West commercial real estate. These guys are the rising stars within Newmark Mountain West, and I'm excited about having a conversation with these guys. We'll cover all kinds of things today: deals, challenges, breaking into the industry, winning prospect strategies, et cetera, et cetera. So let's just jump right into it. We've got Jake Nielson, Branson, the Branny, and then we've got Nick Bowne as well. So let's start with Branny. So everyone has a nickname in Mountain West. That's the cool thing about Newmark Mountain West. It's like if you come in and you're crushing it, you're instantly given a nickname. And so Branson has like 12 different nicknames, but give us an idea of what you're working on. You and I have worked on some stuff together. We're working on a couple of deals right now, but tell us like where you're focused geographically, what kind of product type, et cetera.
Right. So right now I'm kind of focused in the Davis and Weber County area. I'm working with Chris Falk and Braxton Willie. Chris Falk's one of the top office brokers. The top office broker in the state right now.
The world.
So essentially right now I'm kind of their junior, just being taught, and I'm trailing them a lot and done a few deals by myself, but essentially I'm just learning a lot about the office market.
You've been doing it for a year?
No, not quite. I've been doing it for probably over half a year now.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been pretty new to me, but they've done great at teaching me, and I'm learning a lot about the office market, but it's been great.
And he might be a professional bodybuilder on the side.
Yeah. Not quite. We're getting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did maybe recently took first place in a competition.
I did actually do that.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Nick Bowne, tell us what's up.
Yeah. So I've obviously been working with you and Scott now for about 2 years, coming up on 2 years.
Yeah. Wow.
It's been an awesome ride, focused on obviously retail, investment. And I think the benefit that I've seen is being able to learn from guys like you and Scott. You see a high level of deal volume, you see high level clients, and it's been just kind of baptism by fire. It's been great. So focused on those things. Really, we've done deals all over Utah, Montana, Idaho. Those have been the three main ones.
Cool.
Yeah.
And we've got Jake Nielson, who honestly we should probably just start calling the machine. A guy literally might be connected to a phone 24/7. This is actually the first time I've ever had a conversation with him in person because he's usually on the phone. Yeah. So tell us what's up.
Specializing in multifamily. So just focusing on 4 to 50 unit properties. I've just coming up on, it'll be 3 years next May. So kind of in that second year still. Started off completely alone. My brother-in-law, Matt Porter, he's kind of been my mentor, if you call it that. Just kind of showed me the ropes, showed me how to database and how to call, and just basically focused on, teaching me or focusing me on being diligent and just calling basically. So, trying to get into bigger stuff. Just been doing 4plexes and 6s and stuff, but hoping to get into some bigger apartment properties and just working alone, trying to work with other people here and there, but mainly just doing my own little deals.
So basically we've got from 6 months to 3 years as far as experience. And each of you guys said something really interesting that I want to touch on, which is it's kind of how do you break into the industry? And everybody, when you described your situation, you all mentioned mentors. It's one of the first things you mentioned. And so we've got like 10 or 12 rookies at Mountain West right now, and all of whom are kind of competing with each other. We do some cool stuff every month where we show, how much money each rookie's made, and there's always like a moving ladder. But talk a little bit about breaking into the industry. Like, I guess, one, why the heck would you want to do this industry? And two, the value of a mentor and you know, how that's helped you break in.
Yeah. I would say the biggest hurdle is, why should a client trust me? Why should somebody on the phone with me trust me? You got to be able to know things at a very high level and then communicate it at an even higher level. So that's been the hardest thing breaking into the industry, is knowing what I'm saying, I guess. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll build on top of that. So I think one of the hardest things is credibility. You don't really have any accomplishments or anything to really prove who you are in the industry when you're first starting out. So having a mentor that you can say you work with.
So like if you're on a phone call with somebody, you are introing yourself.
Yeah.
And then you'll say, I work with. Is that how you're doing it?
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. I mean, Chris Falk, he's everywhere up there, right? So people always see his signs. So it's like, oh, I'm Branson Wood. I work with Chris Falk. I'm sure you've seen his signs. And if they say no, then it's a good thing to build off of, right? And what we do. And so, yeah, credibility has been the hardest thing for me. And honestly, like Nick was saying, knowing what you're talking about, I think for me, it's been hard to always say, like, I don't know when certain questions are asked, but as I've gotten better, it's been easier, but that's a hurdle I've had to come across.
That's really interesting. I actually tell people all the time, don't be afraid just to say, I don't know, which as salespeople, we're all kind of wired to be like, well, blah, blah, blah. But there's actually a lot of value in just saying, like, I actually don't know the answer to that, but I'll check real quick and get back to you. Yeah. And having that mentor is super helpful, right? Because you can turn to your mentor and say, what does whatever mean? And they look at you and say, are you an idiot? And you say, yes. And then,
Right.
But I had a mentor too. That's how I got into the industry. And without that, I think I would have been very, very difficult to succeed. So what about you, Jake?
Yeah, I've definitely found myself saying I don't know a lot. I mean, Matt is being my mentor. He's, focuses on gas stations mainly. So I've had to learn the financials and kind of that whole multifamily world alone. Yeah, just lots of research, and just at the start, just a lot of I don't know, and I'll find out and getting back to him. But one thing I've felt, and I have found with a lot of the people that I work with now, is they seem to value more than, at least for me, they seem to value just hard work and consistency, knowing that I'm working for them and getting back to them and being diligent, bringing them deals, over maybe me being the most savvy person on numbers or things like that. So that's where I've been able to find my value, is a lot of off-market deals and trying to bring deals to people. But just as going back to your question with mentors, probably the biggest thing I've learned, and just from examples from just everyone here at Newmark Mountain West, because there's a lot of, high volume guys just doing a lot of work. But, I interact with Matt a lot. He's my brother-in-law too. So just outside of work, I'm always with him, but he's just forever been a super diligent, steady, consistent worker and calling. So that's just been a good example to me that I've tried to do as well, of just grind basically.
So, okay. That's a really interesting subject and a passionate one for me, which is hard work, right? As brokers, we can be a lot of things. We can be smart, we can be dumb, we can be tall, ugly, it doesn't matter what your attributes are. The only thing in my 20 gazillion years of experience that really matters, separates brokers that make money versus brokers that aren't successful, don't make money, is hard work. And you guys are all young. And people always accuse your generation, just like they accuse my generation, of being lazy. But talk a little bit about that. Like, why I have worked with all of you guys or seen all of you guys work, and I can say you guys are among some of the hardest working people at Newmark Mountain West and in the industry writ large. So, like, why are you guys wired that way?
I think that there's a lot to say about people who want to show up early, leave late, because it was kind of going back to our last point. I don't know as much as you do in your 27 years of experience. I got to make up for that. So me showing up early, leaving late, working hard while I'm here, it's just something that I find a passion in, is learning about the industry more so than, it's easy. 5 o'clock rolls around, you want to go home, but I think there's a lot to say about staying late, getting your work done. And I've just enjoyed that.
Yeah. I had a mentor when I was a couple years into the business, and this was back before like you could even get email out on your phone or at home or anything. So you had to go to work to get email. It was weird. You guys don't even know what that means. But anyway, I would always like compete with him to see if I could get into the office before him. And like it started at 7, and then it was like 6:45, and then it was finally like at 6:15. He came in one day, and I was in there already, and he was so pissed. He's like, "Stop it! Stop trying to get here before me."
Funny.
What about you guys? Any other thoughts on that hard work?
So my dad, Brandon Wood, who's been in the industry for
Legend.
Legend. We could call him if we want.
We don't want him to know that.
Sure. Right.
It'll go to his head, but he is a legend.
He's, it's been really inspiring to see the difference he's made in the community, doing what he does. He's not just a salesman, but he's a friend to everybody. And it's been really inspiring as well to see the life that he's provided for us kids. I just recently got married, so there's a little bit of that pressure on me as well to succeed and provide. But honestly, I think one of my biggest drivers is that I want to make a difference in the community I'm in, and meet a lot of people along the way, and succeed for my family.
I keep thinking of stuff while you guys are talking because it's such a cool subject, but I had a mentor who once said to me, "You want to know who the most motivated broker in the world is?" And I said, "Who?" And he's like, "You find me a young person who's married, recently married, has a kid, and has a mortgage, and I'll show you the most motivated broker in the world." And I was like, God, that really does like make a lot of sense.
For sure. Yeah. For me, I've always kind of wanted to, my dad used to be an investor, used to be in apartments. So that's like where my interest came from, but always wanted to do it. My work ethic and I guess drive. I mean, there's always times that I'm like, and I definitely should be doing better, getting here earlier, staying late.
Yeah. If you could just do 100 hours a week.
Yes.
That would be.
It would be even better. A few of me going, but I don't know. I've really, in my life tried to, cause I've got 2 little kids, married, and, I really try to have a balance. So for me, my hard work has been not necessarily like super long hours here at the office. It's been, when I'm here, I go. Like it's focus and grind time while I'm here at the office, and then I can leave and go back to the family.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
That's kind of been like my motivation. I've got a family and a mortgage, so I'm motivated. I want financial freedom. Would love to be able to invest in properties is my goal. So got to make a bunch of money to do that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump to the next part of this. So you guys have all been doing it for less than 3 years. Let's talk about your first deal, like the first deal you did, and that feeling and what it was like. And, if you want to tell us how much money you made or how little money you made, you can tell us that. But I just remember that I think my first deal took like 9 months or something, and I got paid $500, and I was so pumped, so pumped. Like it wasn't really about the money, even though the money was cool, but it was more like I felt like I had accomplished something, and I had a foothold, and I can actually make it in this industry. So anyway, just interested in your experience there.
Yeah. My first deal was strange. It was my second week in the business. I was picking up lunches. I was helping out with anything I could here and there. And I answered the phone. I was helping out Scott Brady with a listing in Midvale on State Street. It was a ground lease deal. I didn't know what ground lease was. I had no idea. I get a call, and it's a car dealership, just a startup. And they're like, hey, we're interested in the site. We want to ground lease this. And I'm on my computer. Like, what is the difference between a ground lease and a regular lease?
Chat GPT, please help me.
And they're like, well, how much, what's the rent? And I can't remember what I did. I think I said, well, I'll have to get back to you. So I call them back, figured out what the rent was. We traded paper one time and signed a deal in a week. So it was a 1 week deal. And it was the worst thing that could have happened.
That is the worst thing that could happen to you.
Deal signed, I'm like, whoa.
This is easy.
Commercial real estate.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's going to happen next week?
Awesome. We're going to make trillions of dollars. Yeah, no. And bad representation of what the industry is, because that was too easy. But it was fun. It was cool to get a deal done. And I've had to work a lot harder on the rest. Yeah.
Hasn't quite been like that since then.
No, not one.
Sweet. My first deal that closed, it was up in Ogden. I was actually on my way to a tour and I saw this 2-tenant retail / office property. And I thought it was pretty cool, right on the corner, something I think a lot of people would be interested in this market. And so I ended up cold calling them when I got back to the office. And the cool thing was that previous day, they actually had acquired it from their father who'd passed away. So it was 3 brothers. And that day they all had actually decided they were going to try and sell it. And so I called them right at the perfect time, and just standard timeline for closing is about 3-4 months. So I went through that whole process. Wasn't as cool as a 1 week closing, but I was still pretty stoked. And
what was the value of the transaction?
It was $412,000.
Nice,
so it was about a $7,000 fee.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Pretty stoked about it. Most money I've ever made.
Yeah, that's a lot.
in my life.
I don't think I got paid on mine.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You didn't get the privilege of getting paid.
I started in like late March, database for 2 months of just building a database out for phone numbers I could call on properties. And then I started calling in May, called for months and months. Finally my first deal, I guess, I had 2 deals just close within like a week of each other. It was around Thanksgiving. So there was 2 fourplexes. One was in Parowan and one was in Mount Pleasant. So
nice.
Those were just cold call deals that I ran across. The guys was able to list one, and then the other one was an off market deal.
Just straight up cold call. Huh.
Yeah, that's been about 100% of all the deals or I guess clients that I work with, is just cold calling. So that was my first deal.
Yeah, save that thought on cold calls. I want to talk about that at the end of the pod. So I guess actually let's talk a little bit about that right now, because I'm interested for you rookie younger guys. Like, what are you using for prospecting? How are you finding deals? Like when I started all those years ago, I basically was cold calling. Like when some guy was 25 years before me started in brokerage, he was cold calling. So is it changed? Are there new things happening? Like what are you guys doing to prospect, to find deals? What's your strategy?
I think there's a couple of things, kind of relating back to the mentor aspect of this, having you and Scott knowing the kind of properties that are easier to transact on. I kind of have a feel for, okay, here's something I drove by yesterday evening going home. Let's take note of that. I'm going to call on this property. It's a C-class retail strip center. And then in addition to that, I think the way that I've found some success in sourcing out deals is if I get somebody on the phone and we're talking about, let's just say it's a tenant who wants to lease a 2,000 square foot drive-through space. Maybe they call on something we have, or they want help to find something else. If, maybe our property doesn't work for them. Instead of just hanging up the phone, it's, hey, this one didn't work, but give me 6 hours. Let me find you 10 other sites that we can go out, cross a few off the list. Let's go tour them.
Keep pushing.
And just keep pushing, because at the end of the day, when you hang up the phone, if the conversation is not moving forward, you're just not going to make money. Yeah.
I like it.
I've been using the GIS resources a lot. So I'll have them take like a section of the map and make a spreadsheet of all the parcels in that, all the like certain zones that I want. And then
like a 5-block radius or something. And they pull all of the ownership info for that.
Well, they just pull all the parcels, and then I'll go find the ownership info. And then just kind of put down all the owners, and then I'll go drive that area, find all the tenants that are currently in it, and then just focus on calling that area for a week to 2 weeks. And the thing that's been helpful with that is I'll take note of everyone I talk to. And there's some people who are like, oh, in 6 months, I'm going to jump to a new spot, hopefully around this area. So then if I call in that area, I know exactly, like if they say they want to sell or they're going to leave this spot, that I can contact all the people who've been interested in something like that in the past. Right. So it's a lot of time on the computer searching and finding phone numbers, and kind of, I think the hard part's been trying to find the decision makers and a lot of the tenants. Like, it's a little bit of a wall you have to climb and get them to give that information to you. But just knowing what everyone wants in certain areas and being able to connect the dots over time has been really helpful.
When you pull those reports, do you have to filter? Does it filter for you at all of like, can you say you only want to see the parcels that are commercial zoned, or?
Yeah. I mean, it's not perfect. There's still some that there's houses that are
thrown in there or whatever.
So it's not 100% perfect, but it definitely doesn't pull
a
bunch of other stuff you don't want.
That's one thing I'm kind of transitioning. I feel like how I've done it in the past is CoStar. I usually pull the report and just throw it on an Excel sheet. And then I take all of that, I'll just go to CoStar and be like 4 to 30 units, 4 through 30 units. They'll give me a report, but they're missing. I mean, they have a lot. I think when I first databased, I databased like 1,300 properties or something, but
in Utah or in what?
Utah. Yeah. Wow. So, but now I'm getting to the point where I've called kind of back through that list, but I've called through it all, but now I'm wanting to get through like new properties. So I'll have to link up with you and figure out what you're doing. I'm trying to figure out new ways to get like different properties, or other than, I think the only other route is just have to drive by if I see something that looks good. Just
the old fashioned, get in the car, knock doors.
Yeah. Right. So
hit me with some lessons, because we've talked a lot about mentors. Hit me with some lessons that you guys have learned, or stories or whatever about your mentor. And before you do that, I always talk about how important mentors are. And I often use this example to kind of explain or illustrate how important mentors are in this business. But if you look at the top 20 highest producing, or top 10 even, highest producing brokers in this region, multiple states, I can almost draw a direct line for if the guy is number 2 or 3 as far as like top producing broker now, that person was mentored by a top producing broker of that previous era. That's how important a good mentor is. And you guys all are mentored by top producing brokers in this era. So don't screw this up. You guys have a great leg up. Yeah. But talk about that for a second. Like what lesson or lessons have you learned from your mentor?
I mean, going back to the hard work thing, that was the first thing you said to me when I interviewed. It was, this isn't rocket science. You don't need to be the smartest guy. You just got to show up and work hard. And so that's been the main one for me. And it's been cool to see how you and Scott and different brokers in this office, everyone operates a little differently. I was here 4 years ago interning with Andy Moffett and Lance Pendleton, and their styles are slightly different from your guys's. And it's cool to get a different aspect of, okay, these guys are high producing agents as well. What do they do to be successful? The biggest thing for me though is asking questions. I sat down at my computer for the first 2 months and probably wasted a lot of time just because I wasn't asking questions. How do I do this? What should I say to this person? So to your credit, yeah, having mentors that have the answer to everything, after all these years in the business, take advantage of that. That's the one thing I would say to any rookie, anyone with a mentor. Take advantage of the resources that you have while you have them, because someday you're going to have to pass the torch along. You're going to have to pay your dues for it, and you're going to be mentoring someone else. Mm-hmm. So it's just taking advantage of that.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think it's one thing I kind of struggle with just with a lot of things. I try to be very independent. So, I mean, I'm sure Matt gets bugged by me all the time. I go in and just, it's a random thing. And I feel like I've done it 5 times, but I still got to go ask him, or I've learned it a bunch of times. But anyway, so I do ask a lot, but that's one thing that, yeah, I mean, I like what you said a lot, because I think, the conversations and little conversations I do get to have with the other brokers here, it's just every time I talk to them, they always have really good advice of just whatever it is. So yeah, I just echo what you said basically, and I need to do better at it for sure. So
I think one of the things that I admire most about my mentor, Chris, is his ability to take unique issues that people might have and really listen to them and make them feel comfortable with them. It's really not a one size fits all industry. Like, you get a bunch of different people with different opinions on different things, and their brain works different, and they want different processes to go certain ways. And I really like how he's able to take what they say, even though he might just think it's not the smartest thing in the world, and just walk them through it and kind of direct them over to what's actually right and make them feel comfortable and make them feel heard. And so that's something that I've really had to work on, is listening and understanding the client and making them trust me. And yeah, he's been great at just guiding me through all of the ins and outs of that type of stuff.
I like it. So when you guys are cold calling and grinding and it's super painful, how do you stay motivated? There are stretches in commercial real estate that suck, where it feels like you're not making progress. It feels like you're not closing deals. No one's listening to you. Everyone's hanging up the phone on you. How do you come in on a Tuesday and grind again?
I mean, whether it's just a series of bad luck, or maybe it's a slow time of the year, let's say it's December, things are slow. You can't get people on the phones, and it's kind of demoralizing, but rent is still due in December. Rent is still due in September or December.
Those bills keep coming.
That doesn't change. So there's constants in your life, and kind of to your point earlier, and Jake's point, Branson, these two are married. He has kids and a mortgage. Those are all things that are constants in your life. So got to show up, got to grind, even when it's tough, because a lot of people aren't. And that's where you get your cutting edge, is you show up and you do grind through it. You're just going to be better for it in the end.
Yeah. I mean, I'm married. I don't have any kids, so I don't even know how stressful that would be, but so I empathize with you a little bit. But yeah, you got people depending on you, and you really don't have a choice. I mean, it's one of those things that whether I want to or not, I wake up early and I get it done. It's one of those things. It's the work you put in now pays off later. It might not be coming in right now, but that in a few months that your calls now develop into money later, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
yeah, I think for me, it's just like when I got into the business, it was, if I'm doing it, I'm doing it. So I think I made the decision a few years ago. And I mean, there's definitely days where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so done calling. I don't want to call anymore. But, it's just every day is a new, fresh day. And sometimes you get a guy that just is a jerk and seems like he's going to ruin your day. But I just figure, especially with cold calling, just each no gets you closer to a yes. So it's just, I don't know. Yeah. I think if you're contemplating getting into the business, you make the decision at the start and stick to it. Like for me, I've never like backing out of something or quitting something this serious is not something I would ever, consider. So it's just not an option. I've got to just go, I guess. So figure it out.
Burn the boats.
Try to
burn the boats. That's true.
Yeah.
Hernan Cortez.
Yep.
So it's kind of fun. Like listening to you guys talk, man, it makes me a little nostalgic on when I was at your point in your career, and it's fun and exciting and very frustrating and challenging. But, I remember that, the hardest part, I think, for me back then was I didn't have anything else that I was going to do. So for me, like, this is what I was going to do. I was too dumb probably to do anything else. So like I made the decision, this is what I'm doing. And there were good days, there were bad days. But when there were bad days, I was like, I was married. I got to go back tomorrow. So I have no other choice. Like, this is what I'm doing for a living. So I think that's a good part of it, and there's a grinder mentality, and obviously you guys have it and top producers have it. And it's like, they don't care how many times someone says no, someone says, stop calling me, leave me alone, whatever. Yeah. Like, they just keep pushing and they never stop. So, cool. Well, like at the end of most of our podcasts, we have been doing a little segment on trends in real estate. And one thing I'd like to hit you guys with, because this is relevant to you guys, is there's a trend right now in commercial real estate and sales in general where AI is making volume cold calls, right? And I'm curious, you guys are really on the forefront of cold calls right now. What are you guys seeing there relative to AI technology? I hear about this all the time. I talk to people all the time that are either subscribing to some of these programs or have, and then now they don't, but it's a big topic in our industry right now.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, we looked into a couple of programs that kind of auto dial numbers for you. I don't know much about it. I haven't used it. I've looked at plenty of options to see, okay, how does this work? How does it filter through the numbers? And how does it sound? Mm-hmm. And I just haven't taken a deep dive into it. Every call that's been made from my end has been from me in real time. Jake and Branson might have a better idea on the AI part of it.
Yeah, I don't have much more. I mean, I know, like, before we flipped the cameras on, I think we were all talking and just agreeing on the point that it's going to be really hard to get rid of real people. I think there's a huge difference in just even if it's a voicemail. I mean, I signed up with Terracotta. I think it's a really cool idea. And I think it could probably help you get a lot more dials in. It's kind of an AI platform. They can go do like skip tracing and find, you give them a Utah County location and say you want commercial or retail properties, and it'll take 24 hours and give you a list. So it's cool that, and then like it'll help you, kind of like what you were saying, like auto dial for you, just help you achieve your calls faster, and then it'll clone your voice, leave a voicemail for you. That's all I've experienced. But
I wonder, is faster better though? Like I think, and the first thing that comes to mind is something like that could almost sour relationships. And when you send a robot to call a potential client, this relationship or this business is solely about relationships. So it's kind of weird in my mind. Yeah. Having a computer do the work. I guess it's efficient, but I like the personal connection to it.
That's kind of why I backed off from it. I just dropped it because, I like to take my time before I call on a property and look at it and get a feel for the neighborhood, what the building looks like. And so, I think there's pros and cons for sure, but I don't know. I'm not sure about AI. I like one thing I really want to do better at, and I've said this for years and I still don't do very great, but I think meeting in person, from everyone I've ever heard, it's super beneficial. Mm-hmm. And the people that I have met in person with, you can see a difference in like a jump in the relationship. So,
oh yeah, for sure. We could do a completely different podcast on just like first contact and in-person meetings and the benefits of that for sure. My feeling on the AI thing, for what it's worth, old guy here, but I think AI is doing some really cool stuff in commercial real estate right now. And what I want to see is AI help me with all of the data collection leading up to that initial contact, to that call. And then I want to make that human to human connection, but I can use all the AI, behind the scenes to give me the information on that side, on that person, on the deal, on whatever. But I just don't think, at least right now, there's not a replacement for that human to human contact.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't want a robot calling 500 of my potential clients.
Right.
It just doesn't seem to work. So
Yeah.
anyway, awesome, man. Very, very cool. Thank you guys for your time. Nick, Branson, Jake, you guys are awesome. These guys are rising stars. In 5 years, these guys are going to be making so much money that I'll probably be mowing their lawn and washing their windows. So watch these guys, look for their name, contact them if you have any deals you're working on. These guys are the hardest working rookies in the business right now. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate all you're doing.
Thanks,
and that's the pod. See you guys next time. Okay.